Hello, Ben. What can I do for you?
Hi, it's Lillian.
Oh, sorry, she's not. She's at dancing.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm really honored. I mean, I didn't expect that to present Kieran Donaghy. I'm really honored. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I forgot everything. Okay, now I think that Kieran is very famous. You know him. He's a teacher. He's a trainer. He's an award-winning writer. He teaches in the UAB, which is stands for Idioms University Autónoma de Barcelona. Right? Okay. And of course, he has a special interest in the use of films. We can all see that. You know that. And he is planning his lessons according to film and education. I have to say that I'm a real fan, and I think that students feel really motivating, and they get really inspired by all these lesson plans. I don't know. I think that all goes to Kieran, and I have to say that he won numerous awards, including a British Council ELT Tones Award to Innovation in Teacher Resources in 2013. Kieran is also a founder of the Image Conference, Film, Video, Images, and Gaming in English Language Teaching. So, Kieran, the microphone goes to you.
Well, thank you very much, Effie. And thank you to everyone at Macedonia Thrace, TESOL, for inviting me here. It's my first time in northern Greece, but I feel as if I know Thessalonica. There's a story behind it. When I first started teaching, after a year or two, I was an examiner for Cambridge exams, and I used to correct first certificate exams in the summer. And one summer, it was an unusually hot summer in England in July, I had 1,500 scripts to correct. And so I was correcting the scripts, and one of the scripts was the question was, describe your hometown, okay? And so the first one was about Thessalonica, and I thought, oh, that sounds very interesting. So I corrected it. It was very, very good. It was very interesting. The next one was about Thessalonica. I thought, oh, that's very good. The next one, I thought, okay, fine. And I read through. There were 450 of them, and you had a choice at the time. You could choose, and every student from Thessalonica had chosen the same one. So I read 450, and they were and obviously the teachers had trained them on it, so they were very similar. So I feel as if I know Thessalonica. Okay, but it's very nice to be here. If I'd just like to just to start, and thank you again, Effie, for the very nice presentation. I'd just like to tell you something very quickly about myself. This is the school where I work in Barcelona, Idiomas Barcelona. It's a very nice building. Do you know Barcelona, the Sagrada Familia? Do you know that? Well, it's close to there. It's just at the top of the avenue there. So it's a very nice building, an Art Nouveau building. I teach general English courses. I also teach a course, English through Cinema, which I'll tell you about a little bit later, which students learn English through their passion for cinema. But mainly I teach older learners now. The last few years I've been teaching mainly older learners from about 55, 60 to about 85. And they're very, they didn't have the chance to study English earlier on in their life. They couldn't study English during the dictatorship, so they're taking the opportunity now that they're retired or semi-retired. They're learning English, and I suppose that it's a different profile from your students, very young learners or young learners. These learners, they do all their homework, they arrive on time, they're very enthusiastic. And what's very nice is that they're not frightened of making mistakes. and they've always got something to say. They've lots of interesting anecdotes, so they're very, very nice. And they really like the teacher, and they're very appreciative of the teacher, and they give you presents and things like that, which is, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this, and they love the teacher, which is very nice. And as Evie said, I founded this last year, the first conference on images in English language teaching. This was the conference in Barcelona, in the same building where I work, Casa Convalescencia. And so we had it first in Barcelona, and it was successful. And then a teaching association in Brazil saw it, and they wanted to have an edition of it. So we had, in October, we had the second edition in Brasilia, and as you can see, the plenary session here. And afterwards there was caipirinhas, and they had their party afterwards. So it was very, very nice. I also write about film. This is a book I wrote last year about how you can teach film, how you can teach medicine and medical English through films. Okay, so I wrote this with the professor of medicine at Barcelona University, and I'm currently writing a methodology book on how films can be used in language teaching, which will be hopefully available next year. Okay, and that's my website, Film English. All of the activities that we look at today are on the website, okay? And so that's the website there. And as Effie mentioned, last year it won an award, the British Council Award for Innovation in Teaching Resources, which I'm very proud of. And this is another award it won in December, a European Union award for media, educational media. I know I look a bit stupid in the photo here, I know that, but I'm very proud of these. But I'm much prouder of these. These are my two daughters, okay, Rosa and I. Now the reason I'm showing this, because obviously, besides the fact that they're much nicer to look at than me, is that their mother tongue is Catalan. Their mother is Catalan. Their mother tongue is Catalan. They speak Spanish well, and I speak to them in English, and they reply to me sometimes in Catalan, but in English. But what they do is they say things like, "Can we watch a movie?" My English is British English. They say, "Can we see a movie?" And I say, "No, we can see a film." And they say, "Can we go to the mall?" And I say, "No, we'll go to the shopping centre or the shops." And they say things like, "Awesome," and "I'm gonna kick your butt." All of these. And things like, do you know the expression "talk to the hand"? Talk to the hand. They said to me one, "Talk to the hand." I'd never heard this expression. So they get all these expressions from television programs and films, and I do believe that watching films and television series in a foreign language really helps you to learn the language. I mean, since I've only been in Greece for 2 days, but the pronunciation of the teachers here and people who I've just met is absolutely fantastic, much better than in Spain. The main problem in Spain is that the TV series and the films are dubbed, and the pronunciation is terrible. They have lots of hours of class, but they'll after 11 years of English and thousands of hours of class, their level is A2, and their spoken level even lower than that. So it's a big problem. So what's happening is that now younger people are starting to watch TV series like Game of Thrones, How I Met Your Mother, in English, not because they want to watch it in English so much, but because they want to be cool and they want to watch the next season before their friends, so they're watching it in English, subtitled in Spanish. But that's improving their pronunciation, and they're coming out with all these really nice colloquial expressions. So I think that's one of the reasons for using film is for that, for improving the speaking and the listening, and those colloquial expressions, functional language. Okay, can you remember your very first English class? The class, sorry, not as a teacher. Can you remember the first time you gave a class? How did you feel? Yeah, frustrated, frightened, daunted. What we're going to do, we're going to watch a short film clip. It's a teacher, his very first day as an English language teacher. All I'd like you to do as you watch it is just, how does he cope with the class? How does he cope with this class? It's his very first class, okay?
Good morning. This is Basic English. My name is Russell Ziske, and I'm going to be your instructor for the next 5 weeks. So I want you to call me Russell, and I'm going to call you by your first names, because frankly, I'd have a pretty tough time pronouncing some of your last names. Okay, I know you're anxious to jump right in and start speaking English, but there are just a couple of things I need to know first because I've never done this before. So, how many of you would say you speak English fairly well, but with some difficulty? A little English? Yes, you speak some English.
Son of bitch, shit.
Okay, that's really very good. I'd like to try it just one more time, and then we'll call it a day. I met her on a Monday, and my heart stood still. Somebody told me that her name was Jill. Okay, great. All right, I'll see you next week. We'll learn some new tunes. We'll have a great time. Bye-bye.
Okay. It's very nice, isn't it? His instructions are fantastic, aren't they? You know, I know you're anxious to jump right in and speak, you know, all these really complicated instructions, but he does seem to cope well in the end. How does he cope? What would you? With songs, yeah, so he seems to this sort of universal language of music and with gestures and that. So when I started teaching in Spain, and I didn't speak any Spanish at all, and the students, very low levels, they didn't speak any English, so it was very difficult to communicate. And one way I found to communicate was with images and then with moving images. So it's a little bit, my story was a little bit going from images, then moving images, and that's what I'm going to tell you a little bit about today, okay? This is the session today, a summary of the session today. Very, very quickly, we'll go through this. We'll look briefly at a little bit of the theory, the importance of film in society, in education in general, language teaching in particular. And then we'll look at the benefits of using film. There are many benefits. I'm just going to look very quickly at 5 or 6. Then we'll look at typical approaches to film, which are perhaps not very pedagogically sound, but they're quite typical approaches and still quite prevalent today. And then we'll look at more pedagogically sound approaches to film. Then we'll look at using whole films inside or outside the classroom, using film clips, using short films, and then we'll look at learner-generated moving images that increasingly we're going to be asking students to bring moving images to the class. Anyone now with a mobile phone or tablet is potentially a filmmaker, and we can exploit this in the language classroom. And then we're going to look at where we can find online lesson plans which save the teacher time, because creating your own material for moving images is very time consuming. There's lots of good material out there which you can use, save yourself some time. And then we're going to look at online resources where students can learn through moving images online, improve listening but also improve speaking and pronunciation. Okay. Just to start with, it's very much with the advent of the internet and the digital revolution and the proliferation of mobile devices, and also the increased ease of capturing moving images, editing moving images and distributing moving images, and also that screens are everywhere. Everywhere we go there are screens. It's really changed the way that moving images relate to society, to education and language learning. We have a quote from Martin Scorsese here, that the moving image, that we're bombarded with moving images, we're saturated with moving images, and that the moving image has, for better or for worse, taken over. We're just going to see how this relates to education and society. I'm just going to show you a very short video with Kenneth Branagh, the film director and actor Kenneth Branagh, and Mark Reed, the head of education of the British Film Institute. And it's a short video in which they talk about the importance of film in society and in education.
Hello, I'm Kenneth Branagh. Worldwide, film is one of the influential art forms of our time. It inspires our imagination, and it teaches us about life and people. And for me, nowhere is this more important or more powerful than in working with young people.
Film education is helping people look more closely at film, look at a wider range of film, and then help them, if they want to make films for themselves. It's about preparing people for the creative economy. I think we all recognise that creative industry is very important, and film education supports that. We don't help children learn to read and write so they can become published writers, although some of them do. We want them to read and write so that they can participate as democratic citizens, and we think that film is just as important as print literacy in that sense. It's about democratic entitlement and civic participation.
Film is being used in the classroom and outside schools across the UK, helping children in their learning and development. And the best kind of film education engages young people in active learning. It goes beyond just passively consuming or watching films.
Film.
Okay, so some of the things that Mark Reed says there, that film education is about watching a wider range of films, watching films more closely, analysing films, and making films as well, if the students want to. And as he said, we teach young people to read and write, not so that they become great writers, but that they can participate in society. It's the same with films, that we're living in a visual society. He says it's about democratic entitlement and civic participation. And Kenneth Branagh also says that film education, it goes beyond passively consuming films. Very often we just passively consume films. And it's about engaging the student, active learning. I think those are the key words, engagement, active learning. Just to summarise the perspective of the British Film Institute there, that we're living in a world of moving images. The moving image has taken over for better or for worse, and that the ability to interpret, analyse and to create moving images is just as important as print literacy. They're not mutually exclusive, they're working very much together. Another quote here from another film director. We've had so far Martin Scorsese, Kenneth Branagh and George Lucas. I don't know if you think this statement is a bit radical. He argues that if you're not able to analyse, interpret moving images, you're illiterate. I think the day will come when the same way that somebody who can't send an email nowadays will be considered illiterate. This day will come. Obviously, with all of these literacies, there's the argument that these people have a vested interest. But I don't really think that the film director George Lucas is a billionaire. He doesn't need to promote himself. He hasn't got any vested interest. He's got just an interest in education and creativity. Does anybody know his website, his foundation, edutopia.org? It's a fantastic website. Promoting creativity and critical thinking in education, edutopia.com. It's a really excellent website. If I was to recommend one book if anyone's interested in moving images in society and education, this book here, which came out last year, The Age of the Image by Stephen Apcon. It's a really excellent book about how moving images, how the film has taken over in our society. As it says there, it's a mode of communication. It transcends languages, borders, and cultures. This quote goes on, we have this revolution with moving images, but it's different from the age of the television, when there was a real revolution with the television, undoubtedly, but the means of production were in the hands of just a few studios. Nowadays, the means of production is in the hands of anybody with a mobile phone, anybody with a tablet, with a computer. You can create moving images. We're all potentially filmmakers. How does this relate to language learning? This is a quote here from Carmen Herrero, who works at Manchester Metropolitan University. She's doing fantastic work on moving images and language teaching and language learning. And I think the key words here that it's about creativity, but it's also about interaction and participation. Using moving images encourages participation, it encourages anticipation. Lots of reasons for using moving images. Just to paraphrase Carmen here, just some of the reasons. Film's motivating, it's entertaining, it's enjoyable. I'm sure if you use moving images with your students, they enjoy moving images. Is that correct? They enjoy, yeah? If you show a film, do they ask sometimes to see more of it? Yeah? Does that happen with your course book very often? Do they say, please, can we do that pronunciation exercise? Can we do that grammar exercise? You know, yeah, they really like it. No, obviously you can't just show the film for the sake of it. You've got to have pedagogical goals. You've got to, you know, that's clear. But it does motivate the students. This authentic language, these colloquial expressions, functional language. If the students aren't living in an English-speaking environment, perhaps it's the only place they can go to where they can get this language. Undoubtedly improves the listening, but it also improves the pronunciation. They're picking up these colloquial expressions as well. It's easier, comprehension is easier if we've got, if you can see the person, everything's we've got a full visual context, comprehension is easier. And it encourages interaction, participation, lots of communicative tasks we can do with film. Now, so there's lots of reasons for using film, but I'd say that film hasn't always been used optimally in the language classroom. Does this approach ring a bell? The Friday afternoon approach. It's in the literature. It's called the Friday afternoon approach. What does this entail? The Friday afternoon approach to film. Any ideas? Just put a film on Friday afternoon, yeah, or at the end of a course. Yeah, just the teachers very often did this, just put a film on, very little preparation, just because they've already done the exam or it's a Friday afternoon, but there's no real pedagogical goals, there's no preparation, so it's not really treating the film as a text, it's not really pedagogically sound, but it's still quite prevalent in language teaching, not as much as it was. Quote here about this approach is that not only is it's not ethical just to put on a film for an hour and a half, because the students, after about 10 minutes, there's going to be cognitive overload if they haven't had preparation on the linguistic part. They've got to have some activities as well. The quote here that's saying it's not only is it unethical, but you can't just put a film on if you haven't got pedagogical goals. It's not for education, so it can be, depending on the country, it can be illegal as well. The extreme opposite of this, does this ring a bell at all? The do the film to death approach? Does anybody know what this might be? Too many exercises. Yes, you've got a huge guide like this. There's lots of exercises. Nearly all of the exercises are based on the linguistic mode, so it's just gap filling. And very often lexical items, grammatical items, and the student has to do it while they're watching the film. It's very difficult to watch and write at the same time. So it's virtually impossible, but it seems to be the extreme opposite. At least in this case, it's treating it like a text, but it's ignoring the visual. A lot of the time, it's just ignoring the visual and just concentrating on the linguistic element. So it's good in some ways, but it's perhaps a reaction to the other one. It's the other extreme. Does this approach ring a bell? It involves the teacher just finding a video beforehand, perhaps thinking it's beautiful, it's funny, putting it off, but yeah, it should be linked. Yeah, it should be linked. But sometimes it's finding it during the class, and there's no real preparation of it. Yeah, no, sorry, Yeah, it could be as a filler, yeah? Okay, so we have this huge resource of YouTube now, but it's not sometimes it's not exploited in the right way. Always we've got to treat it as a text, treat it with the same respect we would a visual text. Okay, so a more pedagogically sound approach, again from Carmen Herrero of Manchester Metropolitan University, that I think what we need structured materials that can help students develop practice the communicative skills, but also activities that help students develop linguistic skills, obviously, but also visual skills, cultural and intercultural skills as well. But also encourage the students to think critically and to use language in a creative way. Showing whole films. I mean, I don't know. Does anybody show whole films in the classroom? Yeah. Yeah, parts is probably better, yeah? I mean, it still happens that some teachers are showing whole films. It's difficult to justify, really, and to show it in parts throughout a course. I think this is much better. Some teachers argue that this is the best way to show films. It's the way that the film director intended the film to be shown. It's a work of art. It should be in a darkened room for 90 minutes. But I think there's cognitive overload there, unless there's a lot of work beforehand on the linguistic element of the film. I think it's better to show it, the film clips, or to show it over a series of classes. if we are showing whole, my approach is that I ask students to watch whole films at home, but I prepare them with giving them film guides which practice the linguistic elements, the visual elements as well. This is the Film in Language Teaching Association. The address is filter.org.uk, and this is again set up by Carmen Herrero at Manchester Metropolitan University, and here you've got excellent film guides here. Very, very nice. It's filter.org.uk. Okay? But if you just put filter, you'll find it, yeah? You'll find it. Okay? Very nice film guides, as I say, activities which develop linguistic skills, but also visual skills, cultural and intercultural skills. Very, very nice film guides. For English language teaching specifically, this website here, ESL Notes, eslnotes.com, it's a fantastic website. There's about 200 film guides. They're divided, there's a synopsis, the main characters, and then most importantly, you've got like 25, 30 pages of the most difficult functional language, phrasal verbs, colloquial expressions, and excellent explanations. So students, if they read this beforehand, when they watch the film, they understand so much more. Okay? So it's eslnotes.com. It's 2 teachers in the United States, and it's completely free. You can download it in Word, PDF format, very, very nice, and contemporary films, classic films as well. It's a very nice website. Film Club is a British organisation. It's a charity, and it's set up to promote film education, and students watch films in school, mainly in secondary schools, during their school timetable or sometimes after. And there's 7,000 film clubs, and 200,000 children a week watch films, but a wide variety of films, not just Hollywood films, films from lots of different countries, different languages. But you just go, although it's an English charity, you can go there and download the resources. The resources are really excellent, very nice film guides. There isn't the linguistic input, but there's a description of what the film is about, which helps the students understand, and then very interesting discussion questions. So this is filmclub.com. Very nice resources, filmclub.com. And also very, very nice resources for example, writing film reviews, vocabulary for writing film reviews, very, very nice. Sorry, this may be a little bit long, this quotation here. This is the founder of Film Club, but what she said is what they discovered from Film Club, from students watching a wide variety of films, how it improved the academic performance of lots of students and also their behavior as well, something that they didn't expect. So there seems to be lots of benefits of watching a wide range of films and analysing films. One thing, again, the founder, Biban Kidron, who's another film director, she said, we honour reading, why not honour watching with the same passion? Just saying that, we live in a visual society and we should treat films with the same respect that we do printed texts. Okay, film education is another excellent, now this is going to get a little bit complicated. You can go to filmeducation.com. They've got fantastic film guides, very, very nice film guides. Really excellent film guides. But the British government, in their wisdom last year, decided to disband film education and start another organisation. Although the website is still there. You go there, you can download the materials, but it's been replaced by a new organisation called the Film Space, which has really excellent resources for students. Really nice film guides, very nice resources for writing about film reviews. Now, I mentioned before that I teach a course, English Through Cinema, so these students come and they learn through their passion for film. So what I would do with the students was the students come, I tell them which film to watch, I give them guides, they read the guides, a linguistic guide, the other guide which is more on cinematography. They come back to the next class, we watch clips, short clips from the films, and they discuss the films. The students are very, very happy with it. They speak a lot, they participate a lot. So everything's very positive. The only problem which I found is it's so much work for the teacher, because you've got to prepare so much. So I was preparing like for a 2-hour class, 10 hours. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, and you think, no, it's a labour of love. I really like it. The next course, I'll be able to repeat the material. No, the students like the course, so they continue. So I did it 4 or 5 times, every time with new films. It's just too much. In September, my boss told me there weren't enough students to continue the course, and I was very happy because it meant I didn't have to prepare so much. But it's a nice idea, but it's too much work. It's too much work. So I think it's better to integrate films into a general syllabus or a conversation course. Showing film clips, I think this is much more optimal use of class time. Short film clips, we can watch several times. Students engage with the material on a more meaningful level. What I think we need is generic activities rather than writing your own activities for each film clip that you see, which is very time consuming. Some generic activities. We're just going to have a look at some generic activities now, which can be used with virtually any film clip which have got interaction between 2 or more characters. Now, this is an alliteration, the 4 S's and the 3 C's, which we'll see afterwards. And basically, the students just write down this alliteration. So the setting, where does the story take place? Is it inside? Is it outside? If it's inside, what sort of home is it? What sort of expectations do we have from the setting? Everything that you can see in the setting. The story, what story does it tell? What happened before? What happened afterwards? The sound, is the music, how does the music influence what we see? Are there any sound effects, the tone of voice of the characters? Symbolism, films are full of symbolism. And then we have the 3 C's, the camera, without getting very technical, just a little bit of the meta language of film, the close-up, a long shot, zoom, which students automatically know because they're using with their mobile phones. They're making films all the time. The color, are the colors dark, the light? Is the color associated with a particular character? It's very typical in film for a color to be associated with a particular character. And then the character, adjectives to describe the characters. What we're going to do with this alliteration, if you say, for example, we haven't got that much time. If we say, for example, I don't know, the setting, the symbolism, and maybe the color, we're just going to watch a short film clip from American Beauty, and I'd just like you to think about the alliteration and perhaps analyze it a little bit there. Okay, we're just going to watch the first minute here.
Sally, I may call you.
Mom, do we always have to listen to this elevator music?
No, we don't. And as soon as you've prepared a nutritious yet savory meal that I'm about to eat, you can listen to whatever you like.
So, Janie, how was school?
It was okay.
Just okay?
No, Dad. It was spectacular.
Well, you want to know how things went in my job today? They've hired this efficiency expert, this really friendly guy named Brad. How perfect is that? And he's basically there to make it seem like they're justified in firing somebody because they couldn't just come right out and say that, could they? No, that would just be too honest. And so they've asked us. You couldn't possibly care less, could you?
Well, what do you expect? You can't all of a sudden be my best friend just because you had a bad day. I mean, hello.
Okay, so say for the setting, where is it set? Yeah, and what type of socio-economic background would you say is quite middle class, upper middle class? Yeah, okay. Lower levels, we could just name everything they can see there, the visual things. Okay. Any symbolism? Any symbolism? Symbolism that the distance between the couple, yeah, which is reflected in their real relationship, yeah. The daughter, where's the daughter? She's stuck in the middle, yeah. She's stuck in the middle, yeah. The lighting, what about the lighting? Yeah, it's very atmospheric, and the mother and father in dark, the daughter in light. She's the good one. No, it's a bit like she's the good one. The color red, the victim. The victim. Is it like well, it's like a classical painting, isn't it? The light's like a classical painting, yeah? The color red, you can see the red flowers. Passion, yeah, passion. You can't really see it's not, the definition is not very good. The jumper that the girl is wearing, it's red, white, and blue. You can't see it. You can see there's a close-up later, okay, like this. But it generates a lot of discussion. It's minimal preparation for the teacher, generates a lot of discussion, a lot of vocabulary, a lot of debates, okay? Obviously, you can show it again. You can show it several times. It's very short. Another generic activity, as I say, the generic activity, characters, just with a Venn diagram. One character, adjectives or nouns to describe one character. The second circle, adjectives to describe the other. Anything they have in common in the middle. Are there any adjectives you'd use to describe the mother and father in this scene? Any other? Sorry? Yeah? They're not happy, are they? No? No? They're ironic, sarcastic. Yeah? Okay. But again, any clip with any interaction between two characters, you can do this. You can add a third one if there's three characters. Another one. This is for parts of the a template for parts of the body where we've got the height, the build, the arms and leg, the face, adjectives to describe this, compare two characters to write a composition afterwards, comparing two characters. Other generic activities with clips to show with no sounds. And the students have to say what they think they're talking about. They write the dialogue or give them half of the dialogue. What one character says, they've got to complete the rest there. Play with the sound only. The students have to visualize it, what they think, how many people there are, what sort of setting it is. Pause it, what's going to happen at key stages. We could say, what's going to happen now? What do you think is going to happen in American Beauty there? At that stage where we paused it. The girl is going to get up and leave, yeah? Okay, we can role play. This scene here is fantastic for role play. To write from the perspective, one character writes a letter to another character. To write an alternative ending. So lots and lots of generic activities. But I'd recommend generic activities rather than writing your own activities, which are very time consuming. Short films. Personally, I think short films are the best form in the classroom. You've got many reasons why. You can show them several times. The students engage with the material on a more meaningful level. You can have a different activity each time. One can be a vocabulary activity. The next one can be another type of activity. So to develop integrated skills, I think there's a greater dramatic impact as well. Than showing a feature-length film over a number of sessions, it tends to lose that dramatic impact. And you've got the whole narrative. Carol this morning talked about narratives, and students love stories, they love narratives. Very often the stories told in short films, because the short filmmakers, they're not tied to a Hollywood studio, so they don't have to follow the conventions of a feature-length film. So very often they have very innovative and creative narrative structures. And they're fantastic prompts for writing and communication. Lots and lots of activities, role play, debates, discussions. Okay, some generic activities which we're going to look at in a moment. To predict the story from the title, give the students the title, what it's going to be about. In a moment we're going to watch a film which is called The Mirror. So just predict it. What do you think it's going to be about? Especially if the title is very suggestive, and very often they are. Predict the story from a screenshot. So you have a character or two characters. What's going to happen in the film? Order the events. Give 10 events in the film, 10 things that happen, scrambled in the wrong order. As they watch it, they've got to order the events. Lower levels objects, different objects. 10 objects which appear in the film. Say, for example, a candle, a plate, a cup. Which order do we see them? Students write observation questions. They write it and they ask questions to the partner. What was the man reading? What colour was the dress the woman was wearing? They write their own observation questions after watching, and their partner has to answer them. Very nice for short films to write a prequel or a sequel. Write the story before, write the story afterwards. Okay? Again, all of these minimal preparation for the teacher. Okay, and there's silent films. There's a lot of short films. Now, there's been a sort of real renaissance with short films And in the last 5 or 6 years, there's been more short films made in the last 5 or 6 years than the whole of the history of cinema, because of the digital revolution, the increased ease of capturing moving images and editing them, distributing them. So many short films are made. But there's lots of silent films. Any ideas why silent films are becoming so popular? Why people, any explanation? Because have you seen lots of silent films? Yeah? Yeah, you have your own interpretation. It seems to be the film director, maybe a Greek film director, a French one. They want it in a global audience. They don't want language getting in the way. They want it to be seen all over the world. Also, the films are being seen increasingly on mobile devices, on mobile phones, on tablets. The speakers are not very good, so they don't want that to interfere. They want it to be very visual, for the action to be important. So that would seem to be the two main reasons why there's so many silent films now. We're going to watch a short film called The Mirror. Any ideas what this might, a short film called The Mirror? What could it be about? Reflection, yeah? Yeah? Somebody who's obsessed with their appearance, yes? Yes. Very narcissistic person, yes? Okay. If we show a screenshot, okay? This is a screenshot from the beginning. What do you think it's going to be about? And why do you just give it to the students, give them the title, the screenshot, put them in groups, and they write a narrative. And they come up with fantastic narratives, very, very nice narratives. And then they watch the film, compare their narrative. Their narrative is different, neither better nor worse than the narrative told in the film, just different. Any ideas what this might be about? You see? Yeah? If you've seen it, don't say please. If you don't say it, please. Okay. Okay. Okay, what we're going to do, we're just going to watch it, okay? Not all of it. So we see in 6 minutes his whole life, okay, and how he changes physically and emotionally, okay. The next time we watch it, we could focus on vocabulary, for example, all the vocabulary related to objects in the bathroom, adjectives in the bathroom, his face, how he changes, all the physical. So lots of vocabulary we could do here. Also, what we could do is thought bubbles. There's no dialogue, so the students supply the dialogue, but it can be a thought monologue. So we use a thought bubble. What's he thinking at different stages of his life? This can be used with lots of silent films. It's quite simple, but very, very, very nice. Remixes, a new type of short films where we take something which exists already and create something new, mixing it together. We're going to watch a short film which is about London, which is a remix. So London, often the students have been to London or they know something about London. Or I ask them to tell that if they've been to London, talk about your experience of London, something you liked in London, 5 adjectives to describe London. And then I say, in London in 1927 and London in 2013, do you think there would be many differences? London in 1927, London in 2013, many differences? No, you don't think so, no? No? Some people yes, some people no, yeah? Okay? We'll talk about what things would be similar, what things would have changed, okay? Why I asked that is that this is a short, in 1927, a filmmaker went round London and shot famous parts of London. Last year, a filmmaker went and shot exactly the same scenes and has both on the same screen. So we've got a split screen, okay? We're just going to watch this, the start of this film, which is London, okay? So I don't know if you've seen, there's lots of films now which are split screens, where you've got two different actions at the same time. They're fantastic for comparing, okay? Comparing, contrasting. Relaxing as well, and all the music, it's the way that we're often bombarded with moving images. It's quite nice with that music there, just quite relaxing. Many differences? Some, not that many. The traffic was faster in 1927, I think, yeah? And when you see people, how they dress, the people dress nicer in 1927, yeah? But you also see that London is much more multicultural as well. That's something you see. But that's quite nice. These remixes and these things where we've got a split screen, very nice for comparisons. Another genre, new genre, or two new genres, branded shorts. These are short films which have been commissioned by a company. Not exactly adverts, but they've been commissioned by a company. They are short films, but generally speaking, they're very beautiful because they've got a big budget and they look very nice. We have viral videos, we know, but viral films as well. A lot of these films, particularly the ones which are branded shorts, become viral. We're going to look at an example here. This is related to the film. We've got two pictures here. Could you compare the people? Is it the same person? What differences are there? Age? Does one look older and one looks older, yeah? The colour, yeah? Which, funnily enough, it's the same age as well. One does look older, but it's the same. They're done at the same time. Any other explanation? The mood is different, yes. Which one looks happier or more positive? Yeah, that there. So students have to say, to explain why this could be. Okay, why this could be. This one here. It's the same person. Yeah. It is the same. Sorry, it is the same person. It's the same person. Yeah. Described by different people, but the same person. Any explanation? Don't say it, okay? Okay, if you don't say it, please. Okay? Okay, we'll see in a moment. Yeah? Okay, so students have to, it gets students intrigued. What's it all about? We'll watch this short film which explains the story. Okay? Watch the beginning of it, yeah?
I'm a forensic artist. Worked for the San Jose Police Department from 1995 to 2011.
I showed up to a place I'd never been, and there was a guy with a drafting board.
We couldn't see them, they couldn't see us.
Tell me about your hair.
I didn't know what he was doing, but then I could tell after several questions that he was drawing me.
Tell me about your chin.
It kind of protrudes a little bit, especially when I smile.
Your jaw?
My mom told me I had a big jaw.
What would be your most prominent feature?
I kind of have a fat, rounder face.
The older I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
I would say I have a pretty big forehead.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and then they leave. I don't see them.
All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm gonna ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm gonna ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin, it was a nice, thin chin.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke.
Cute nose.
She had blue eyes, very nice blue eyes.
So here we are. This is the sketch that you helped me create, and that's a sketch that somebody described of you.
So yeah, that's...
She looks closed off and fatter, sadder too. The second one looks more open, friendly, and happy.
I should be more grateful of my natural beauty. It impacts the choices and the friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. It couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
Do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
We spend a lot of time as women analyzing and trying to fix the things that aren't quite right. And we should spend more time appreciating the things that we do like.
Okay, so it's quite powerful, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and you're more beautiful than you think. So they, discuss that, student, and it's very interesting the way that women are presented, how they perceive themselves, and how women are presented in media. Then, if we go on a little bit, we find out quite interesting here. Dove. So it's not an advert, but it's a commissioned short. Okay, so we could talk about this about Dove. Okay, so. If we go to YouTube, now this video was watched 17 million times, which is a lot for a short film. It's an awful lot. If we go to the comments, because if we go to the comments, we've got there on YouTube, it's a multimodal text. We've got the comments as well. We can send students look at the comments, the variety of comments. We could perhaps choose 10 comments, some positive, some negative, ask students to classify them, which are positive, which are negative, which are mixed. So, wow, this is so beautiful, okay, and without words. Then we've got some criticism here. The same company which makes Axe. Do you know the Axe adverts, the Yoden? I mean, very sexist adverts, so it seems to be very different philosophy from Dove. Criticizing the company again. So looking at these, at the comments on YouTube is very interesting as well. Ask students to write their own comments as well. Yeah? Now, how would you imagine if this video was made for men? What would it be like if they asked men to do this? What would this be like? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Do you mind, sorry, we started 10 minutes late. Can I carry for 10 minutes? Yeah? Okay, thank you. Okay. We're going to watch this made for men. Okay? Yeah?
My name is Jeff Smith. I've been a forensic artist for the LAPD for over 25 years.
We showed up to a place we had never been, and there was a guy there with a drafting board.
We couldn't see them, they couldn't see us.
Tell me about your eyes.
We couldn't figure out what was going on at first, but after a few questions I realized he was drawing us.
Tell me about your eyes.
A lot of people say they're an abyss because they just don't end.
And what about your teeth?
My mom said I had the most beautiful teeth. and so I love to smile.
What would you say is your most prominent feature?
Probably my bulge. I would say the older I've gotten, the more stunning I've gotten.
I would say I would have a balanced face, almost like a white Denzel Washington.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and they leave. I don't see them.
All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this woman.
I don't know, I guess his face was like kind of dirty looking.
Overall, I'd say he really looked like a lawn gnome.
He looked like he smelled really bad, and he did, actually.
I don't know, I guess his eyes just kind of like bugged out when he talked, I guess.
I can't remember if he had eyebrows. Does anyone remember if he had eyebrows?
His eyes were rapey, if that makes sense.
You know, like something like fresh out of Mordor.
Wow. This is a sketch you helped me create, and this is a sketch that someone else described of you.
Yeah, he looks like a movie star, and the other one looks like he'll probably die soon.
I never realized that two opinions could be so vastly different. That is not me, and I refuse to believe it.
So do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
Okay, well, it's very clever. It's very clever. Within days, this video was, within days of the other one, this video was up, and without very much money, not with a big budget. So those response spoof videos, there's lots of these, and any video at all which goes viral like this, within a few days, there's very clever spoof ones. I think this one is particularly good. It's particularly good, yeah. But I mean, but it's quite a serious point as well. I mean, it's very, very funny, but there's quite a serious point as well, as well. This, so as I say, the response parodies there. If I could just go very quickly through lesson plans where we can find high quality lesson plans. Jamie Keddy, a teacher in Barcelona, a fantastic teacher, really excellent website, very good, innovative use of video. This is a website called Movie Segments to Assess Grammar Goals. Now, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. It's a terrible name, no? Would you agree? Movie Segments to Assess Grammar Goals. That's the address. I mean, that's ridiculously long, isn't it? No? The design, that's horrible. No? That design is terrible. But the content is very good. The content is very good. Very nice film clips, but specifically for learning grammar through film. Okay? Assessing movie segments to assess grammar goals. I think it's a terrible name, but the content is very good. This is sorry, that's mine. Film English, you'll find stuff there. Now, flipped classroom. The flipped classroom, are people familiar with this? The flipped classroom, of watching the idea. The idea is basically of education in general. What the boring thing that you would do in class, you make a video of it, the students watch it at home, and then in class, the students do more interesting communicative things. So for example, what might be the boring part of our classes might be the grammar explanation. The students can watch that at home and then come back to class and practice speaking in class, okay? This is the philosophy. But what you've got, for example, TED Ed, you've got videos, and the videos have got multiple choice questions. Students can watch them at home. We could do this with film, okay? For the students to watch a film, and there are multiple choice questions. So you just go there, and then you can watch the film or the video and answer questions. This is another one where you can make your own material with a film or a video, EduCanon, and this is like a short video here, and then you've got the multiple choice questions. You could set it for homework, for example, or just go there and you don't have to create your own. There's lots already existing there. This is probably the best one, ESL Video. ESLvideo.com is very, very good. You've got videos, and it's specifically for English language students, which is important. And then you've got these multiple choice questions, so the students practice their comprehension. That's quite nice. So it's eslvideo.com. This one is a very nice one. Vlogs, where you've got a video and a dialogue. Vlogs, like dialogues, but with videos. So what you do, the teacher puts a video there, but then asks, this is from Of Mice and Men, the film, and the book of Mice and Men, and then you've got the question the students discuss, can be within their own group. Was this a mercy killing? Did George do the right thing? Defend your choice. What are your thoughts about the ending to the novella? Comment and respond to classmates. So here, rather than having just multiple choice questions, I think the students are probably engaging on a more meaningful level. And the comments are quite interesting, sometimes quite profound. Learner-generated moving images. As I mentioned before, increasingly students will be bringing their own moving images to the classroom. I'm just going to show you one last video. And what I do, I just tell students, this is your homework. Okay? This is your homework.
Hello, I'm Wim Wenders. One of the great things about cinema is how it makes us aware of time. Each film consists of many brief moments of life that altogether create a unique and new space in time. Today, everybody is a filmmaker. So I invite all of you to enter our short film contest, The Beauty of a Second. All you have to do is capture beauty in a second-long video, seize the moment, catch a second that matters to you. What about anything you consider beautiful? A smile, a child's face, a flower, a spectacular view, a kiss. The movie of life itself, 1 second at a time.
Just giving that the homework something which is beautiful, or something which is important to them. They just film it, come to class, and also they use the language explaining why. The important thing is that they explain why. These are not, what you could do with students is create a class compilation. This is not a class compilation, but these are the 60 finalists in the competition to show. Each one is a second like that, okay? One thing that we could do with this is ask students to choose one and respond to it. This is what somebody from this is in Portugal actually. They've chosen one of the moments of beauty and say why it's beautiful for them. Very, very nice comments. These are teenage students, 13, 14-year-olds in Portugal. I think the comments are very nice. This one here I think is very beautiful. If just 1 second, if you read this one here. I like this moment because it reminds me of those days when it's cold outside and at home watching a film. It was only because of drops trickling down that when I was 4 years old, I learned how to count until 10. It's very beautiful, no? I think the students have engaged there, okay? Finally, English Central, do you know this website? Fantastic website. The students can actually improve their listening, but their speaking as well, which is fantastic. Absolutely a fantastic website. English Attack is similar for younger learners, not as sophisticated as it's good. Clipflare is a site, this is for dubbing films. It's Clipflare, sorry, if you see there, clipflare.com. For dubbing films and for putting subtitles on films. Students, it's very, very good. Does anybody know Bombay TV? It's Bombay TV. It's very nice. You have like Bollywood films and Hindu. So you have a film like this, and the students add the subtitles. Yeah, they add their own subtitles, so they're creating the language. They can also record themselves, so they come up with very funny dialogues. You could practice it, give them 20 words which you've studied recently, and students have to write their dialogue using those. BBC Words in the News. Do you know BBC Words in the News on the BBC? This is really, really excellent for learning through moving images. Just put BBC Learning English Words in the News. The videos are fantastic. Pedagogically, really excellent. Okay. Vine, this is, I won't explain, these are just very short videos which students can create. It's an app. It's nice for creating short films, animated films. GoAnimate.com, it's very nice for younger learners, fantastic. Does anybody know Zimmer Twins? For younger learners, they create stories with these two twins and their cat. And they can record themselves as well. Very, very, ZimmerTwins.com. And there's a Zimmer Twins just for schools, which is very nice as well. Yeah, very easy, and it's great fun. The students, the younger learners love them. Okay, just to sum up, sorry, everything that I've been saying today, basically that that we need activities that can help students develop their linguistic skills, but also their cultural and intercultural skills. And just a final quote from this book, which I really would recommend, Stephen Apcon, The Age of the Image, that film's motivating, it's fun, and it's the rising language of the 21st century. Okay? And this is...
I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect.
Okay, that's it, okay? So there you go. Okay, thank you. You've got my, this is my email address as well, kieran.donaghy@uab.com. If you want a handout, just send me an email, please.